She killed 5 people.
Had a
2
wee
years
rest.
ago.
Yeah, then had a break.
Then had a rest.
Yeah.
Then got upset by her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And so killed his wife.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She was just killing for fun before.
Yeah. Now she's got a purpose.
Yeah, she's got purpose. Just practice, isn't it? Hello! Welcome to Believe. I'm Phil Green.
And I'm David Ferguson.
And this is a podcast all about the world's craziest mysteries and conspiracy theories, isn't it?
Well, I like to think it's just getting the truth out there so that you can make your own decisions because we're lied to all the time.
The truth is out there and we will find it for you, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
In each episode, we've been on a guest. That guest has picked a myth, mystery, or conspiracy they want to talk about. We get facts and figures from the internet and we try to prove it, debunk it, or neither.
Because we're just comedians and there's only so much we can do.
We have a limited range of abilities, and this is really one of them. Yeah. But we give it a bash anyway, don't we?
Yes.
Now, if people want to follow us on social media, where can they do that?
There's loads of places you can do that, and I think that you should. I think you should follow us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, or Blue Sky. You can choose all of them or none of them. Well, one of them. And our handle on any of those platforms is BelievePod.
Yes, it's where you can DM us. It's also where you can tell us what you think about the mysteries and conspiracies we've been talking about. We want to know your opinion. We put exclusive content up about all of the things that we've been talking about, and we want you to share with us what your thoughts are on those things. It's also where you can tell us what myths, mysteries, and conspiracies you'd like us to cover on this podcast. In this season, a lot of the things that we're covering have been suggested by you guys. Keep those coming, please. DM us. You can also email us, believeconspiracypod@gmail.com, and we will do our best to get the answers for you, won't we?
Oh, absolutely. We are the bad boys of podcasting, and that's the one thing we're good at.
Yeah, they call us that for a reason. Now, if they enjoy this podcast, and let's say it's their favorite podcast, the best podcast they've ever listened to, maybe the only podcast they've ever listened to.
Yeah. I mean, that's really likely.
It's quite likely. If you listen to this, why would you listen to anything else?
Indeed. I don't listen to anything else.
But the problem is they might think, well, hang on, I listened to this podcast, but it's only one episode a week. Is there a way I can get more episodes?
There is. We have a Patreon.
Oh, for just £5 a month, you can get extra episodes of this podcast every goddamn week. Also, you're helping us support the pod. You get early access to the main feed as well. And where can people go to find that?
Go to patreon.com/BelievePod. And if you can't find that, we're also got links in the show notes.
Yes, absolutely. We have loads of episodes out there already. We've got episodes on the 27 Club. We've got episodes on the Zodiac Killer. We've got episodes on Stonehenge.
We've got the truth about Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, the truth about Nicolas Cage. We've got the Bermuda Triangle out there. We've got the Loch Ness Monster. There's loads of episodes already out there. And there's more to come every single week. Just enjoy that back catalogue of stuff. It's so much fun. A lot of our live episodes will now be on our Patreon, and we've got old guests coming back, new guests coming in. It's going to be fantastic, isn't it?
It is fantastic.
It is fantastic. Now, I am doing some previews of my latest stand-up show. On the 2nd of May, I'll be in Southampton. At the end of May, I'll be in Brighton. On the 5th of June in Derby, 7th of June in Chichester. And on the 11th of June, David and I will be doing a double header of stand-up shows at the wonderful Bedford in Balham in London, won't we?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be like Deadpool and Wolverine.
That's exactly what it's going to be like. If you come to see us at the Bedford in Balham in London on the 11th of June, it will be like going to see Deadpool and Wolverine. Think about that.
Yeah.
But like better than that.
Oh, totally better.
Yeah.
Because I'm actually out, whereas
Yeah.
certain members of that cast aren't.
Wow. That's one for the Patreon. Okay. George is ready to go.
Oh, he's so ready to go.
Spruced and ready to go. Smelling terrific today.
Oh, he's just a lovely boy.
Just an aura that he's got, isn't it?
Yeah, and he makes the best cup of tea. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, he does
It's
make
the best cup of tea.
And who is today's excellent guest?
Today's excellent guest is Pauline Eyre.
Pauline Eyre. Pauline is a fabulous comedian and compere. Her 2024 solo show Body was nominated for an award at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival last year. She's been tour support for the likes of Shappy Corsandi, and Giles Brandreth once gave her 10 out of 10. We don't actually know what for. We're assuming it's for comedy. Otherwise, things might be slightly inappropriate. But Giles Brandreth.
And he's a homosexual, isn't he?
And what is the myth, mystery, or conspiracy that Pauline has chosen?
Jack the Ripper was a woman.
Jack the Ripper was a woman?
Was a woman. Like God is a woman, but worse.
God is a DJ.
God is a DJ.
Mm-hmm. But
Jack the Ripper
was a woman.
Woman.
Let's bring on Pauline.
Get out of the rabbit hole.
It's a fake. Every single bird in the sky is a robot.
It's fiction.
Doubt your government.
It's an urban legend.
Like if they're actually spraying something in the sky.
No way.
A stream of absurdity.
It's a total fabrication.
Welcome to the podcast, Pauline Eyre! was about 20 minutes of chats that we haven't got
God.
recorded. Thank God.
Yes, no, that wasn't broadcastable.
No. Stories about Michael Parkinson. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yes.
Is he still alive?
We don't know. We don't know if Michael Parkinson's still alive. If you know, write in. We could Google it, but we can't be bothered. So you're okay?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah.
Good. How's the knee?
I'm recovering from knee surgery. 11 weeks tomorrow. It's all right. I just used the tube for the first time without crutches.
Wow, that's an exciting day.
Yes, in the rush hour.
Almost as big as coming on this podcast.
I know. I mean, it was worth it to get here.
Yeah.
I was prepared to schlep across London in pain.
Absolutely. And you're writing a new show.
And I'm writing a new show.
And you're going to talk around tennis clubs.
I am.
I'm very excited about
I'm
this.
hoping. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a show called Anyone for Tennis. Mm-hmm. It'll be hitting Edinburgh this summer. Mm-hmm. And I've got to write it quite quickly.
Fitting.
First show took me 9 years to write. This one I've got 7 months.
But now you know how to do it. It's
Well,
going to
yes.
be there.
Second album syndrome.
Yes.
It's going to be fine.
I have a very good director.
Good. But it's about you being a line judge.
I was a line judge at Wimbledon for 16 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Man and boy.
Man and boy.
Okay, I'm really sorry.
ball boy.
I don't know what that is.
A line judge.
I'm a
You
gay
really
man. No.
Oh,
Yeah.
there were some gay men in tennis.
Yeah, there's.
They didn't tell anyone.
Yeah.
No, the women are out, the men are not out. It's the person who either stands at the back or sits on a chair at the side and shouts out and sticks their hand up. And I'm not going to do it here because it will blow your speakers.
You see, that's why none of them are out, because someone else does it for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Out. Not me. Still in the closet.
We all saw Challengers. No.
Yeah.
I didn't. I need to.
Oh, you need to.
I need to for research.
Yeah, you do. It's right up your street.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's also filthy, and I love that. I'm really here for sexy movies now.
It's not really about tennis, is it?
Oh, it's about scoring.
That is true. Did you ever get into an argument with a player?
Of course I did.
Yeah. Are you allowed to say?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's quite a lot in the show about Goran Ivanišević.
Oh, really?
Yeah, are you happy with swearing on this?
Yeah.
I did think about calling this show Fucking Sue Me, Goran Ivanišević. But best not.
I love that title.
Oh, so do I.
It's good, isn't it?
I love that title.
Yeah, no, he was not easy to work with.
Okay. The year.
Come and see the show if you want to hear it.
I want to know. Yeah.
Of how I got him banned.
Yeah. You got him banned.
Oh.
Didn't he? He won it one year, didn't he?
Yes, I was on that match.
Yeah, but not the
Wait.
year that you banned him.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't the time.
Oh.
But yes,
He
yeah,
learned
yeah.
his lesson.
Yeah, I learned a bit of Croatian.
Okay. just to get at him.
No. I learned a bit of Croatian because he taught me it.
Wow. Oh, I see. Okay. Go and see Pauline's show for all the dark secrets
all
about
the
Goran Ivanišević, which we know you'd be wanting to know.
Yeah. And where and what it is about Stefan Edberg that only women who've slept with him or women who've line judged him know.
Oh my
Ooh.
God. Pauline,
Gorgeous.
I can't. Oh.
He was gorgeous.
Oh, wow.
He was
Sorry,
good.
and you.
No, I'm getting really flustered, and I don't know why.
Is he still alive?
Stefan Edberg?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
He's only like my age. Oh God.
Is he?
No, he's still. Yeah. I think he
Okay.
lives in the UK.
Does he? I guess he was quite young, wasn't he? Him and Boris Becker were really young when they had their rivalry.
He wasn't as young as Boris Becker, but
No.
yeah. Boris Becker won it at 17.
Okay.
Yeah.
Think of all the things we haven't achieved.
I absolutely was thinking that. It was my birthday earlier this month, and I'm going, I think I'm an also-ran. I don't think anything's happened, so, but that's good.
Okay. Anyway, conspiracy theories.
Yes.
How do you feel about them?
Usually quite cynical.
Okay.
But then I was thinking about that. I thought, if you ask me that, I'm going to say, oh yeah, I'm completely cynical about them. And then you're going to say, but what about this? Everybody believes this, and that's a conspiracy theory. And then I'm going to look an idiot.
Well, I never pick out specific theories, but if there's often one or two that people have a little bit of doubt about.
Okay.
Not the case with you.
Well, I don't know. Like what?
Moon landings, that's a big one.
Yeah, I've got no doubt.
Yeah, okay. Most people haven't. I suppose it's the ones that are more bedded in reality that people tend to believe a little bit more. Alien-y ones, less so.
Yeah.
But there's definitely, government intervention ones, those tend to be the ones that people kind of believe in.
I think we've learned so much about how corrupt we are.
Yeah.
In the last few years that's opened the door to that.
Yeah. It's
For sure.
Yeah. I think people have become less believing in government and whatever government says, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Good time to start a podcast, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Jack the Ripper was a woman. Fan of Jack the Ripper?
Fan of women.
Yeah. David?
Fascinated by the murders and the sort of industry around them and the speculation.
Yeah.
And I have things to say about Jack the Ripper being a woman, but that would be right now, and then the podcast would be over.
It would
so,
be.
Yeah,
a short
something to say.
episode.
Yeah.
So, Jack the Ripper remains one of history's most infamous and elusive criminals, operating in the Whitechapel district of London between 31st of August and the 9th of November 1888. The killer brutally murdered at least 5 women: Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, and Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly. Despite numerous theories and suspects, the true identity of the Ripper remains unknown. However, one controversial yet intriguing theory suggests that Jack the Ripper was, in fact, a woman. This idea, often referred to as the Jill the Ripper theory, challenges traditional assumptions and offers an alternative perspective on the unsolved case. So, Pauline, were you aware of the theory of Jack the Ripper being a woman?
I was not.
Okay, but you were, weren't you?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm looking for the first time ever. I'm looking at notes, and you caught me. Yes, I'm so sorry. I was aware of it. The reason that it came about was the women that were murdered were so anatomically correctly diced.
Yeah.
And that level of expertise, what a horrible way to put it, but that level of knowledge, some butchers might have had it, some surgeons might have had it, but that was still incredibly rare. And the idea that a woman would know the way around a woman's body, the way Chapel Rowan would say, is where the idea initially came from, and has some weight to it. Yeah. Apart from the fact that women aren't serial killers, so
Traditionally not.
I believe women can do anything.
Yeah.
It's just I mean, even like I don't think women are serial killers. To quote Mark Normand, women kill the way they love. They have to get to know you first. And they just don't psych people. Whereas men it's like a parking space. That'll do. With love or murder.
But wouldn't there be women who get to know lots of people and kill them all?
Oh yes, that does happen.
That's still a serial killer, then, isn't it?
Not in the way these are. Not in the way Jack the Ripper is. Yes, you're absolutely right.
So they don't go killing strangers the way those kinds.
They tend to be carers who kill lots of a nurse that kills lots of babies and stuff like that.
That is true. That a lot of the few female serial killers that I did look into, you're right, there's an established motive there, and there's an established relationship usually, or it's revenge, or it's something like that. It's rarely a random killing for no reason.
And that's why I don't think Eileen Wuornos was a serial killer. I think she was if you're familiar with that, Charlize Theron won the Oscar playing the character in Monster. I don't think she was a serial killer. I think she was a woman who was in desperate need of help, who met bad men. Anyway. It's gotten very serious.
I'm not normally true crime in this episode, haven't we?
Wow. Yeah.
This is our first true crime one. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And yet I never. If there's a drama on the television and it starts with the murder of a woman, I don't watch.
Really?
I'm so
You
over
out?
it. I'm so bored of it.
Yeah.
It's such a horrible trope. So yeah, genuinely, if it starts that way, I'm like, nah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched anything Jack the Ripper though? Is that a case?
I tell you what I did do.
Yeah.
When I was much more, probably before I became a parent, I was fascinated with the Yorkshire Ripper, and I read a book which went through all of the details of all of it, which I would never do now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't read that now because I wouldn't take myself there. But I am aware, and I do remember a lot of that. Also, I had a sister who was a student in Manchester around about that time,
God.
so we were slightly, it didn't get very close to where she was, but it was, so we were slightly sort of aware, and it was fascinating. And it was actually, I've never ever been interested particularly in the Yorkshire Ripper, in the Jack the Ripper, and I had a sort of little read of his Wikipedia today. I was like, oh my, there's so many similarities. There are so there are so many similarities.
Yeah, there are. Yeah. And I think that's why. That's why he got the name the Yorkshire Ripper, right? Because
Oh yeah, so he's.
But even including the letter, the letters and stuff, and when it was Peter Sutcliffe, they were sending tapes and stuff.
Yeah, and they think he was sort of not parodying, but sort of mimicking that.
Well, he wasn't, because he didn't send the letters and the tapes.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the amount of time that was wasted because of that?
Yeah.
Someone thought, oh, I've got an active imagination, and
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were looking in the wrong. Yeah.
yeah.
That's a pretty damaged thing to do, though, as well.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm very worried about her knee. It's like mine. She's literally got a torn meniscus.
For the benefit of the audio, Paulie's talking about a doll on the table.
I have Serena Williams Barbie
Yes.
on the table,
Yeah.
and I'm slightly worried about her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the posable bodies. They're not as pretty as I'd like them.
Neither is mine. But my meniscus has been healed. So that's all right.
That's one of my favorite words, meniscus.
Meniscus is a great word.
I love that word.
Yeah.
So meniscus. There we go. I got to say it.
So the Jill the Ripper theory, the notion that the Ripper could have been a woman, was first suggested by some detective and theorists during the initial investigations. One of the earliest proponents of this theory was Dr. Thomas Dutton, a physician who believed the Ripper might have been a midwife or someone with medical knowledge. The idea that a female killer could move through the crime scenes without suspicion as women, particularly midwives or nurses, would have been accustomed to handling blood without arousing alarm. Additionally, some researchers have pointed to Mary Piercy, a woman convicted of the 1890 murder of her lover's wife and child, a possible suspect. Piercy's crime involved extreme violence, including throat slashing and thanks, Pauline, and mutilation, leading some to draw parallels with the Ripper murders. However, no concrete evidence links Piercy to the Whitechapel killings. So this idea about her being a midwife or a nurse, there's quite a lot of logic in that in terms of getting close to the victims, and that thing you were talking about with trust and women being able to get closer to women, especially at that time as well, right?
Yeah, there's a real component to that. A woman could get closer to the victims, and also if she was a midwife, midwives were much more. There were more midwives than doctors, because you kind of, especially at this point in history, you kind of like the doctor went, oh, you're trained up, you're good enough, you wouldn't need a degree or anything like that.
Also because most births didn't need doctors.
Yeah.
And there was no birth control.
Having said that, though, were any of these women pregnant? So you're saying
that's a whole other.
Well, she's not going to get close to them as a midwife unless they're pregnant.
But they might have known her, because that's the other aspect of
So
it.
they might have had children before.
Yeah.
Were any of them mothers?
Some of them were the.
You think my research would go that far, wouldn't you, Pauline?
Yeah, you would.
Yeah. Anyway.
A bloke did this research.
Yeah. Fucking ChatGPT. But there's logic to that, I suppose. A woman in a medical position, qualified or not, I suppose. There's a level of trust there.
Yeah.
So I could sort of see that. And the idea, one of the theory here is that she can move about within the Whitechapel area seamlessly with blood without arousing suspicion, because at that time, no one would have assumed that a midwife with blood on their clothes or a nurse blood on their clothes would be anything other than somebody who's just been to work.
Yeah.
So she'd be in uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because that's where Call the Midwife is set, isn't it? 50, 70, 80 years later.
Yes.
Oh, I want Miranda Hart to appear in a movie of this. Oh my God. Jill the Ripper.
Tra-la-la.
Jill the Ripper.
She's such a good actor. And you could see her killing
I can
someone.
see her killing.
Yeah, right.
She's killed.
She's killed.
She's killed. You heard it here first. So the Mary Piercy theory. Mary Piercy remains
fun.
Such fun. Mary Piercy remains one of the most intriguing female suspects in the Jack the Ripper case. In 1890, she was convicted of brutally murdering her lover's wife, Phoebe Hogg, and the couple's infant daughter. The killings were exceptionally violent, with Piercy slashing Phoebe Hogg's throat and bludgeoning her to death before dumping the bodies in a secluded location. The sheer brutality of the crime, combined with her apparent lack of remorse, led some to speculate that she may have been capable of the Ripper murders as well. So, were you aware of this woman?
That's such a leap, though.
It's a big leap. The slitting of the throat is the key thing that links it, because he did, the Ripper, whoever he or she was, or they, did that with every...
Non-binary people can be serial killers too.
Exactly. Anyone can do it these days.
Yeah.
Equal opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. But they
won't be allowed in America anymore.
That's
They'll
true.
just be seen as a diversity hire.
Diversity kill. So I think, because all of the victims had their throats slashed, but I think that only there's one victim that they believe that the Ripper was disturbed before they managed to do everything else, like
Yes.
remove any of the intestines or that.
That was the night there was 2 people killed.
Yeah, that's right. So therefore, on that particular night, I think it was just the throat slash, and maybe there was a bit of.
And Mary Piercy's victims, or the adult victim, she had her throat slit, but she wasn't dismembered as well. Not dismembered, but had her
No.
insides.
She bashed her up.
Yeah.
And that's sort of seen as the dismemberment is seen as damage, taking the person apart. Although I think there's a big difference between bashing someone's head in. I can't believe I'm talking about this, bashing someone's head in and cutting them up. But do you know what I mean? It's the desecration. It's that idea that there was the killing and then desecration.
Yeah.
So and possible. I want to say memento, but that's not what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. No, memento is just taking something away.
memento,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's still a leap.
It is a leap, and
Because she clearly had motive for the killing of the mother and baby.
Yeah, it was revenge.
Well, that's
she was
it.
Medea.
yeah. So one of the arguments in favour of Piercy as a suspect is the method of the killing. The manner in which he murdered Phoebe Hogg, throat slashing and excessive violence bear similarities to the Ripper's modus operandi. While the Whitechapel murders involved abdominal mutilation, the initial attack on each victim was typically a deep slash to the throat, which matches Piercy's known crime.
Okay, but if we're in the 1860s?
1880s.
If we're in the 1880s and I want to kill someone, I don't have many options.
That's true.
Especially, I suppose, if I was a woman. But, the easiest option, the most accessible option, would be to cut somebody's throat.
Yeah.
Or stab them in the heart or
It'd
something.
be the quickest
would
thing,
be.
wouldn't it? Yeah.
I'm not going to have access to a gun. I'm not going to have access to poison, perhaps, as easily. And actually, had it been a nurse, maybe more access to meds. I don't know.
Yeah,
that
which I
that's
guess
a
counts
reason
against the idea of it being a
Yeah, I
nurse,
don't know if that's a reason to link them. It's like, the accessible way to kill somebody is to stab them.
Yeah.
But this is an interesting thing about the identity of Jack the Ripper. There's so many almost plausible leads. Like it's become so much part of popular culture that we could do a movie with Miranda Hart, and this is the character she's playing. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's a bit weird when we're talking about someone who killed a lot of people, bad, truly horrifically. But I
suppose it's long enough ago that it's not, presumably these people's descendants are several generations. If they do have descendants. I already asked if they were mothers, but you didn't tell me.
They do have descendants, yes. And
so
actually, some of the recent investigation into this has been coming from the descendants, or at least they've been involved in some of the more recent DNA analysis of things.
Yeah.
Because there's still descendants who want to know what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
They should get them on Who Do You Think You Are. That's a some of them are so boring, but I would want to know if one of my relatives was killed by Jack the Ripper, I would want to go on that program.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see the Lord Lucan? I'm just off topic. Did you see the Lord Lucan documentary recently?
No, tell us.
Oh, there's a guy who's the daughter of the nanny that Lucan allegedly did kill. Went looking for him. It's a brilliant documentary. It's a brilliant documentary.
Did she find?
He finds somebody, and then it's and then it will. I don't want to ruin it. It's a really cracking documentary.
Really?
Yeah, it's a really good story.
I think I did see. I'm sure I've either seen it or I've seen highlights of it, because I'm sure I saw who they think Lord Lucan is being interviewed,
and that's the victim's son.
Yeah.
That's so close.
It's mental, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because no one's looking into it anymore, are they?
No.
Cold case.
Yeah.
And also, it's got myth around it now. You know, it's salacious, and and everybody has their own ideas. And Lord Lucan went off and holidayed with Hitler or something.
Yeah.
We just did an episode where Hitler still survived World War II. So.
Yeah.
Oh.
He lived in New York for a while. Had a whale of a time.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So another compelling point is her psychological profile. Piercy was described as manipulative, intelligent, and capable of extreme violence. Unlike many female criminals at the time, she showed little remorse and maintained her innocence until her execution. She allegedly requested her tombstone to be inscribed with the words, "My sentence is a judicial murder," suggesting that she felt no guilt over the crimes. Her ability
Which presumably, if she didn't do it,
Would also
all of this points to her behaving absolutely like somebody who either didn't do it or didn't believe that she did it.
Exactly.
Rather than her being cold-blooded and horrible.
Yeah.
What a dreadful thing to do, to say I didn't do it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think she's accused of worse.
I mean, I think so. None of this seems to smack of like, well, that seems out of character. Like, of course you were going to say that,
Yeah.
aren't you? Her ability to kill with such brutality and cold detachment makes her a plausible Ripper suspect. I mean...
Because it's so shocking when women do it. The fact,
That's
it could have been, they wouldn't, I imagine there were other women who killed their husbands' lovers at the time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't know. But therefore,
One of my all-time
look at her,
favorite.
she was violent. Of course she was violent.
Yes, one of my all-time favorite movies is Dolores Claiborne.
I don't know.
Oh my God, Kathy Bates.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's so good, and
It's a great.
Yeah.
I love it so deeply, and it's about wives killing husbands.
Yeah.
Bad luck is a sad wife's best friend. Yeah.
Oh, that's a great quote.
What's really interesting here is, so she is convicted of this murder, right? And it was brutal, and it was really, really brutal. But she's dismissed by most ripperologists. That's what they're called.
An actual thing.
Yeah, it's an actual thing.
Yeah.
On the count of her being a woman. And so, well, we know she killed 2 people, but she couldn't have killed 5. And it's the logic there. That's bizarre. It's like, no, it couldn't have been a woman because 5 people were killed. It's like, well, she's killed 1, so it
2.
just has 2. Sorry, 2. Yeah, one of which was a toddler, but still.
What does that mean? That doesn't count.
Easy kill.
Fewer points.
But
What?
the point is she had a history of doing it, but I just this whole like,
Well, she had a history of doing it.
but a motivation to do it.
She did it once.
Yeah.
She did it once.
Yes.
With a motive. It's quite a leap. But I think there's always the idea of, I don't know. I think Myra Hindley got a much worse rap than Ian Brady
Oh yeah. No question.
because it's so much more unthinkable that a woman could do it, and so she'll be punished more.
But she was, because Myra Hindley was sort of the media presented her as a kind of, she was controlling, wasn't she? She was the manipulative woman controlling Ian Brady, even though he largely did the killing. So it was
The manipulation.
Yeah, the manipulation. She was made out to be the real evil in that pair, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I wonder if that would still be represented in the same way today.
Yeah, and Rose West,
Yeah, that's true.
much more recent.
Yeah.
The idea that a mother could or that a woman could is much more shocking to our culture.
Yeah. So they've got to make her out to be
Yeah.
really evil. Otherwise, the story doesn't
Yeah.
seem as...
I would say
Not
that
damaged or
Rose
manipulated.
West probably was really evil. Like,
I mean, I think both of them...
Don't know enough about it, to be honest.
Like-
By that time, I was running away from those stories.
There was also an element of mystery regarding her physical capabilities. Victorian society largely dismissed the idea of a female serial killer, believing women were too weak to commit such atrocities. However, Piercy demonstrated that she had the strength and determination to carry out a gruesome hands-on murder. This challenges the notion that the Ripper had to be a man due to the force required in the killings. But
Only her, so she was freakishly strong, was she?
freakishly
She
strong.
managed to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But she couldn't have killed 5. Just the 2.
she was frequently strong for 2 occasions, and
Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Well, she got tired after that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Isn't this we were kind of arguing? Yes, it was her, and from female empowerment, yes, she did kill the other women.
Exactly.
But
What
but
we're saying
also
is, like, she probably did, but she could have done if she wanted to.
She could have if she wanted, but she's probably better than that because I'm a feminist. But women can be bad too. I'm not quite sure where my feminism takes me on this.
yeah, women can be anything. There we go. Like, right.
If you want to kill, you kill. That's a man saying that.
Oh, now you've had permission.
This is not the episode I thought we were making.
No.
Honestly,
I thought there was going to be more about midwifery. That's why I chose this this case because I've got a connection to midwifery.
Yeah, don't worry, there is. We're getting onto it. It's just the Piercy suspect is just the most prominent one. Although these killings were 2 years after 1888, because these are 1890 that she's actually gone.
so it's retrospectively they're saying.
Oh, so she killed 5 people.
Had a
2
wee
years
rest.
Yeah, that had a break.
Then had a rest.
Yeah.
Then got upset by her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And so killed his wife. And
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. She was just killing for fun before.
Yeah. Now she's got a purpose.
Yeah, she's got purpose. Just practice, isn't it? One of the most tantalising pieces of circumstantial evidence linking Piercy to the Ripper case is a supposed letter she received before her execution. According to some accounts, she was sent a note written in Spanish that, when translated, read, "Jack the Ripper is abroad in London." The meaning behind this letter remains unclear, but some theorists believe it may have been a reference to her potential involvement in the Whitechapel murders.
Abroad as in abroad.
Abroad. Yeah.
Was that used in those days as a terminology for...
Broad was definitely used in New York by at the turn of the century. By that point, it's just sort of Chicago and New York speak. Abroad was a woman.
So why would somebody send a letter to a Londoner?
In Spanish that translates.
Yeah.
You know, abroad. I think abroad isn't foreign. I don't know. I've no facility for.
We're just making this up, aren't we?
I know. I feel very. This is an unusual episode. I love this. Let's have a seance.
I mean, we normally know nothing. In here, we definitely know nothing, and we're still confused, even by the
But I've got
facts.
notes for the first time. I keep holding my phone because I've got notes. I've got something that can break the case wide open.
Okay, good. However, there are significant counter-arguments to the theory. Piercy's known crime involved a personal motive. She was involved in a love triangle and killed out of jealousy. The Ripper murders, by contrast, appeared to be random and ritualistic in nature, suggesting a different psychological profile.
That I also find that quite interesting because she was a little bit on the polyamorous side herself.
Mm-hmm.
So why is she suddenly, a jealous person now when she's had lots of lovers before and hasn't lived a monogamous lifestyle?
No. You know, and you know the man in question, he didn't get killed.
True.
So, but the lover and the child that would be responsibilities to him did.
Mm-hmm.
Was that to hurt him though? Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the legend of Medea. You know, Medea
yeah.
kills Jason's wife and children
Yes.
to get back at him.
Yeah.
But
also, women's magazines always set women up against women. Was Vogue around then? I don't know. Not Vogue in particular.
Yeah,
other magazines.
1888 wasn't a big year for Vogue.
Take a Break magazine
Take a Break
always
was
sets
huge.
women up against other women. She's been reading that kind of stuff.
Take a Break was huge then.
Can you imagine Victorian era Take a Break?
I love Victorian era Take a Break.
Oh my goodness.
Great stories.
Yeah.
Imagine the competitions as well.
Goodness.
So
Trashy periodicals.
Exactly. Additionally, Pierce's documented crime occurred in 1890, 2 years after the last confirmed Ripper murder. There is no evidence placing her in Whitechapel in 1888 and no known connections between her and any of the victims. Despite these doubts, Mary Piercy remains a fascinating alternative suspect in the Jack the Ripper case. Her capability for extreme violence, lack of remorse, and the method of murder make her a plausible candidate for the infamous killings, although no concrete evidence directly links her to the Whitechapel crimes. Lack of remorse is not an unusual thing.
I find that people are so offended by lack of remorse. It's like, they haven't even got any remorse. No, what's bad is that they killed somebody. Not feeling remorse about it is circumstantial at best.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, you're not going to feel remorse if you didn't do it. So if she didn't, do the killings that she was hanged for, then she wouldn't have remorse.
No, exactly.
And if, I don't think it's normal to kill people, and therefore, if somebody has killed somebody, there may well be some psychological baggage there.
Yeah.
And so a lack of remorse might also be part of her mental health makeup.
Well, exactly.
I know I'm kind of 2025ing this with my approach, but did she have ADHD?
Doesn't say.
She wasn't a stand-up comedian, so probably not.
No.
True. But this thing about her...
Frenzy, though.
But her coldness, and because this is the thing that sort of...
That's the sin as a
right,
woman,
this is the point, right? Because that to me is a very sexist argument, because you're saying, well, because she wasn't what the expectation of a woman being an emotional being and showing remorse, and so but as you say, that's just personality, right? Just because you don't show that doesn't mean that you're a cold-blooded killer. I mean, she was in this case, but not necessarily 7 times.
Yeah. I mean, maybe she wasn't.
No.
Maybe she didn't kill her. I'm starting to go all conspiracy theory on your ass now.
Well, you've thrown another one in there.
Yeah.
Add that one to the list.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jill the Ripper didn't do it.
Jill the Ripper didn't do it. That's what we should have called this episode.
Also, the thing that's weirding me out is we're talking about Mary Piercy, and I'm looking at this tennis playing Barbie on the table.
Yeah.
And of course, there was a very famous tennis player called Mary Pierce.
There was, that's true.
So this is why I've chosen this one, really.
yes.
Yeah, 'cause it's
But she wasn't the
teleconnection.
one that got stabbed.
No, she was not. That's too soon.
That's too soon.
Oh, yes, I remember that. She got who was
That
that?
was-
Casellas was stabbed.
Marla
yeah.
Casellas.
US Open?
No, it was in Europe somewhere, I think. No.
Oh, that was off. I remember that. I remember
Yeah,
seeing
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I don't know if it was live, but I remember seeing the footage.
The footage was
In the shoulder, wasn't it?
shown in the back.
Oh, man. Yeah, I remember it.
God
Very
love her.
fast. Anyway, the midwife theory. One of the most compelling aspects of the Jill Ripper theory is the suggestion that the killer may have been a midwife. During the Victorian era, midwives had considerable medical knowledge, including an understanding of anatomy and surgical procedures, which could explain the precision of the Ripper's mutilations. The ability to perform surgical procedures or post-mortem examinations could have allowed a midwife to carry out such gruesome killings with skill.
Did midwives do post-mortems?
Yeah, and that bit, I'm a bit like, I suppose maybe they would have been involved, but they wouldn't carry out.
Why? Why would they be involved? That's really
If there was
really bizarre. If somebody died in childbirth
Yeah,
and a midwife was with them, you wouldn't
Yeah.
have that midwife in the post-mortem.
this is true.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I understand. And would midwives have carried out cesareans? I don't know.
I mean, that's definitely. I mean,
They would know
cesarean
the
sections
anatomy.
Did happen at the time. you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
And episiotomy and other vaguely surgical things, but it's not. I used a word you don't know. And but it's quite a leap here for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think all of this is a massive leap.
It's all
regardless.
quite
Midwives also had the advantage of moving through the streets of Whitechapel at all hours without suspicion, unlike men who might have attracted attention while covered in blood. A midwife would have had a legitimate reason to be seen with bloodstains on her clothing, as assisting in childbirth often resulted in such marks. This ability to blend in could explain why no clear suspect was ever identified despite extensive police investigations.
I've just got this image of just late night in Whitechapel, all these women in uniform walking. It's really normal to be seen covered in blood. They wouldn't. They'd have had aprons on, and they'd have taken those aprons off.
That's
They
what I
wouldn't
was
just,
thinking.
you didn't just go out in your clothes and your clothes get filthy and your hands get covered in blood and off you go home again to have a shower.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they washed their hands.
Yeah. Just walking past her in the street. Oh, a lot of babies tonight, Margaret.
but
Yeah. It's babies. Yeah.
But it does make sense in that a midwife could be bloody, even having cleaned up a little bit, because a baby comes whenever a baby comes. Whereas if it was a man covered in blood, well, even if he was a butcher going, well, what were you doing? Midnight slaughtering? Like
Yeah,
that didn't
yeah.
happen. So she
a
actually
doctor
does.
though. A doctor would have been a
doctors-
man.
Any surgeries that they would have done would have been done at a hospital.
No, but
Would
you
it-
could. Somebody's had an accident and they go and treat somebody in their home and there's blood. Somebody's coughing up blood. Somebody's,
Who of us haven't coughed up blood?
me. That's not true. I've had my not what are these called? Wisdom teeth. Anyway, doesn't matter. A lot of blood.
It is a lot of blood. And you can't talk for days. Horrible.
And you have shrubs in your mouth. I had all
Right.
four done at the same time.
Oh,
With this really, really, really attractive surgeon. And then he came round the next day and he said, "Are you okay after the anaesthetic?" And I said, "There's sort of a tightness on my chest." And he said, "Oh, that was me. One of yours was quite stubborn and I knelt on you." And I literally said, "I don't fancy you anymore."
The dentist
well, at
knelt
least
on
he
your
admitted
chest
it. Oh my gosh.
to get a tooth out. That's a hell of a stubborn tooth.
Yeah. This was general anaesthetic in hospital, all four wisdom teeth.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
Yeah.
I would hope it wasn't local, yeah.
No, I didn't remember.
Imagine waking up during
yeah.
that, Christ.
It's like you knelt on my chest.
Yeah.
At least it was nice and cushioned for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Took me
well,
right
at least-
off him.
At least he was honest.
Yeah.
Christ.
When he went home, did anyone go, "Ooh, serial killing today, Johnny?" Or was it a stubborn tooth?
I suppose, though, if you saw, at that time, if you saw a man walking through the streets covered in blood, you as a passerby are more likely to go and report that.
Are you? Wouldn't you think he's just had a fight outside a pub?
Depends on the amount of blood, I suppose.
In East End, Whitechapel, poor, where the poor people are.
Yeah.
There's a lot of poverty and a lot of presumably drinking and a lot of fighting.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
Maybe. I mean, the other thing about this is that the Ripper was quite calculated with this, but he was quite precise with the way that he killed, or she killed, and the removal of the organs and that sort of stuff. You would think if they're that sort of detail-driven in the way they do it, they would probably have a change of clothes if they were going to plan something through that. Like, it wasn't just.
And if they were, what's the motive for a surgeon to do that? They get to do it all day. You know, to carefully take out intestines and stuff. Why?
It's a busman's holiday. No.
Yeah.
But I mean, one of the murders. Oh God, I wish I remembered this better. One of the murders, there was gloves found, blood-soaked gloves, and they were men's gloves. So.
Oh, how big were Mary Piercy's hands?
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking Miranda Hart, but that's.
Yeah,
but it's just because I mentioned that earlier. Now I feel bad. Sorry, Miranda, if you're watching.
Was she alive then? Could this have been Miranda Hart?
You know, there's no evidence.
She's looking good.
There's no evidence to suggest that she wasn't alive during that. So.
I bet there is. There might be like a birth certificate.
Don't worry about detail here. Good point. It detracts from the fun of the podcast. Furthermore, if the Ripper were a midwife, she might have had access to medical instruments that could have been used in the killings. The precision of the mutilations has led some experts to speculate that the murderer had anatomical knowledge which midwives possess due to their profession. The theory also suggests that the Ripper may have had a personal vendetta against prostitutes, possibly seeing them as immoral or having had negative experiences with them in the past.
Or just being a bit of an incel.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the Jill the Ripper theories, I don't know if you've got it there, was that it was another sex worker that was attacking them to get rid of the competition.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's more someone's fantasy, you know.
How precise? So when you talked about the instruments, and you're saying they're more likely to have access to the instruments, were these women attacked with scalpels, or did they use the knife that they used to, you know, murder them, cut their throat with, and then they used that to cut them up? Or, you know, the idea that somebody then got a scalpel.
Well, they did have
they
did. Whoever it was did have the instruments to essentially perform an to slice them up and take out their organs, and so they would have had to have some anatomical knowledge, and therefore the instruments to do that.
And it is known
and
that
Mary Piercy wouldn't have had those.
Well, it is known that the instrument, there was more than one knife or one blade used. There was different things used.
Yes.
So it might have been just a number of knives, but the autopsies weren't great. But
I mean, this is now going to an upper class woman because she's got all the different knives.
Yeah.
She works away from the outside to the inside.
Yeah, she's got the set.
She's got like a melon scoop.
Yeah.
She's got I'm sorry.
No, but
I'm ashamed.
I mean, the idea for Jill the Ripper really got foothold in the idea of ripology and all that is there's a movie called Dr. Jekyll, Sister Hyde. It's a Hammer film. It's one of my favorites. It's absolutely brilliant. And when Dr.
They can't
Jekyll,
all be your favourites, David.
I really love like Dr. Jekyll, Sister Hyde, and Frankenstein Created Woman are two of my absolute favourite films ever. I
bet you loved Pretty Things.
Oh, I love Pretty Things.
Yeah.
I did. And I loved it better than the book because I felt that Bella had more character. I felt she was more in control. Also, anyway, talking about movies, I'm very disorganized now. But Dr. Jekyll, Sister Hyde is a really good film, and it's Dr. Jekyll takes the formula and becomes this stunning, beautiful woman. And quite frankly, who of us wouldn't want to do that? Except she goes out and kills people because she's Sister Hyde. She's evil.
Even more fun.
Oh yeah, and she's gorgeous.
Oh.
I mean, one of the first things she does is she orders lots of clothes, and I'm there for it, you know. And it's this gorgeous ruffled dress, which she goes out killing it and going, you know, Devil Wears Prada, you know, Sister Hyde wears Prada. It's so gorgeous. It's such great. I got to meet I've forgotten the name of the actress who plays Sister Hyde. I got to meet her a couple of years ago, and I just I love you. You're fantastic. I'm ridiculous. I'm such a gay man sometimes, and it was but it's great fun.
But not qualified in midwifery.
No, not qualified. But that sort of give the idea of existing. It was Jill the Ripper.
Yeah.
Also, Jack and Jill. I mean, Jill. You know, that makes sense. Jill the Ripper. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I grew up with a computer game called Jack the Nipper. Does anybody remember that? Like I was very young. Yeah. So.
I'm thinking nipples. Is it not? Is it?
No, Nipper as in wee baby.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I was thinking of crabs with the little little nippers. Or lobsters.
That is a good name for a crab, though, Jack the Nipper. That is strong.
Or the lobster. Oh, God.
We've taken a slight
Chicken
deviation.
nuggets, Jack the Dipper. Jack the Ripper themed restaurants. Yay!
Hey! Oh, God.
Oh, hard to
Have you ever done? Has anyone done a Jack the Ripper tour?
Oh,
No.
yes.
Yeah.
Have you?
Oh my gosh. So I've forgotten his name. I'm blanking. There's a friend of mine who's a writer. Completely blanked in his name. So bad. The Pet Detective Club. He writes that, and he wanted to research Jack the Ripper. And we met at Tower Hill, and I lived at Tower Hill at that time. And there was three groups, and my friend kept pulling me back and said, we want this third guy. And he's the guy that consulted on From Hell with Johnny Depp, which was based on the Alan Moore book, which is so much better than the movie. But I still like Johnny Depp being a drug addict in Victorian England, and Heather Graham's wonderful. It's a terrible film.
Are we slightly
I've
deviated from
yeah.
this or not?
But
This happens a lot. Just
yeah. Sorry, I had an today, and
if anything, we've done well to get this far without this level.
But the tour was really great, and you got to see where all those where the people were murdered, and you were reminded that they were human beings. That, you know,
Right, that's good.
and there were women who had really been down on the luck. I forgot. Is it Annie Chapel was the first woman that was murdered?
There's actually some debate about that, but yes, I think that's the official thought. But they do think that potentially they might have been murdered in a different order to what was originally discussed.
Yeah.
But anyway, you're gone.
Her husband was separated from her, and he forgave her for all the bad things that she did. And it's really just this idea of this woman being cut out of society, like she had no hope. It was like, and her husband's such an asshole, and I forgive you for all the things you did. This woman was murdered.
Yeah.
You know, and
It's very good of you, babe.
yeah, it's just awful.
What a guy.
Anyway, what a guy.
Yeah. Another factor.
Which, of course, was also the reason I remember when the Yorkshire Ripper was being investigated. It was the idea that these women wouldn't have loved ones in the same way.
Yes.
That you could get away with it because they were already either missing from their families or, you know, much more anonymous, if you like. They weren't going home to loved ones, which maybe I don't know in the 1880s whether they were more likely to be, but if they were working in brothels, presumably they lived there, did they? I don't know. I don't know much about brothels.
Some did, but not all. Another factor supporting the midwife theory is the possibility that she had access to the victims. If the Ripper was a woman, she may have gained the trust of female victims more easily, luring them into secluded areas under the pretense of offering medical aid. Some eyewitness accounts describe a woman accompanying victims before their murders, although these reports are largely overlooked at the time due to the widespread assumption that the killer was male. There's something in that. I can see that if those reports did exist and they ignored them purely on the fact that, well, it couldn't possibly be her.
Would street sex workers have walked with other street sex
Yeah,
workers and
would have
stayed
thought they
together
would
for
have done.
safety
I would have thought they would have done.
sometimes?
Exactly.
So they may well have been walking together at
Yeah.
times.
The Hawksmoor Church that's in Whitechapel near Liverpool
Yeah.
Street, they walked around it, and when you were at the front, that's when you got business. So you walked very slowly along the front, and when you went around the sides, you walked very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So that meant you would walk together, and the girls would work. The people would walk together, and because you know it was no different then as it is now. You know,
Yeah.
you want to be in company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Additionally,
Or was Jack the Ripper dressing as a woman to accompany
Well-
them?
See, that's a whole
Yeah.
whole other.
yeah. Additionally, the midwife theory accounts for how the Ripper was able to evade capture despite the large-scale police investigation. The murders required anatomical knowledge and precise incisions, characteristics that do not match a typical violent outburst, but rather a deliberate, methodical approach. A midwife would have had the necessary skill to execute such precision, further strengthening this theory. Yes, but we think that's unlikely.
I think it's unlikely.
Yeah, I mean, there's some other female suspects. So there's Lizzie Williams. Some researchers have theorised that Lizzie Williams, the wife of prominent physician Sir John Williams, who of course wrote Star Wars, could have been
Only the
Ripper.
theme,
Only
Phil,
the
don't
theme.
exaggerate.
Only the theme. Could have been the Ripper. The theory suggests that she may have been infertile and took out her rage on the victims, mutilating their reproductive organs. However, there was no direct evidence linking her to murders. That seems like a massive overreaction.
Bloody Nora.
Florence Maybrick. Florence was the wife of James Maybrick, a Liverpool cotton merchant who some believed to be Jack the Ripper. She was convicted of poisoning her husband, and some theorists have speculated that she may have been the true killer rather than her husband. However, there is little substantial evidence to support his claim. I think with her, there's very little evidence she was actually even in the area at the time that these were happening. But you can sort of see where that might have come from. And Amelia Dyer, a known Victorian era baby farmer who was responsible for the murders of numerous infants. Amelia Dyer was one of the most prolific female killers in history. Some have suggested that she could also have been responsible for the Ripper murders, but her crimes typically targeted infants rather than adult women, making the theory unlikely.
What is a baby farmer?
I was wondering that.
And also, if she's farming babies, why is she killing them? Baby farmer makes it sound as though she's selling babies for adoption or something.
Yes, people want babies, but also they want cheap servants. So you got a baby.
So why is she killing them?
Because they might be ill, no good to her, or the mother that give birth to them is giving lip, and so I'm going to kill one of the babies, and you'll not see any. Like it's.
You know too much.
People are horrible, and I do know too much.
Yes. So the male suspects, men have been accused of this. Can you believe it?
Oh, wow.
Imagine.
But at least you did ladies first.
Yeah.
Such a gent.
Thank you. The most commonly cited suspects are Montague Druitt, a barrister and teacher with an interest in surgery. I like an interest in surgery, who was said to be insane and who disappeared after the final murders and was later found dead.
So when a man does it, he's insane.
Yeah.
When a woman does it, she's evil.
She's calculated.
Yeah.
Michael Ostrong, a Russian criminal and physician who had been placed in an asylum because of his homicidal tendencies, and Aaron Kosminski, a Polish Jew and resident of Whitechapel, who was known to have a great animosity towards women, particularly prostitutes, and who was hospitalized in an asylum several months after the last murder.
And who was that last one again?
Yes.
Say his name again.
Aaron Kosminski.
Okay, so Aaron Kosminski.
Yes.
There's DNA evidence that's been tested. Am I jumping all over your?
No, but there is. But yes,
there's DNA evidence that's just happened. Like we're recording this at the end of February, at the beginning of February. This was announced, and it's DNA evidence says that it was Aaron Kosminski was the Jack the Ripper.
Yes.
Is he related to Peter Kosminski? Let's go.
Probably. Well, like.
Yeah. Let's go, film nerd.
Yeah. Could be.
You're absolutely right. He is now considered to be one of the front runners. There were other people like painter Walter Sickert and a physician, Sir William Gull, also subjects about speculation, but they actually have been proven to not be even in the country at the time or anywhere near Whitechapel for at least one or two of the murders. So it seems unlikely they would have been the murderer. But Aaron Kosminski was. Yeah. Throughout the entire period. And as you said, there has been a lot of recent evidence. So one of the Ripperologists, British author Russell Edwards, purchased a shawl belonging to one of the victims, Catherine Eddowes, which contained blood and semen back in 2007. In recent years, it's been put through forensic testing where it was found to contain DNA from two separate people. One of those matched a descendant of the female victim, you're talking about descendants, while the other matched one of the descendants of a Polish immigrant who would have been around 23 at the time of the murders. So that's roughly the age of the sighting.
But of course, if there was semen at the scene, they had been working, presumably. So it's not necessarily the killer.
Well, serial killers are known to be messy.
Yes.
So to speak. So it might not.
Yes, but if this is somebody who's raping and murdering them, that's one thing. But actually, if there's semen found on the body of a sex worker, it's not necessarily from the killer.
Correct. Yeah. True, and that is one of the theories. That was one of the theories against this.
I should be a detective. I'm really amazing.
You really should.
Yeah.
The Tennis Detective. That's a BBC show that will run for 6 seasons.
Now they've kicked all the line judges out of Wimbledon.
I've got to do something.
Yeah.
Shout out. Stick a hand out.
Imagine if all line judges now end up becoming detectives.
That is a TV series. That is a beloved TV series.
Leading a team.
I was team leader. I was team leader on centre court. Golly, yeah. Just
the line judges. That's a BBC. Get
very
on this.
detail driven people.
Yeah. The end of the line.
Yeah.
They could call it the end of the line.
Great.
What?
Right.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Starring Pauline Eyre.
Yeah.
I want to see that show.
Take note, BBC.
I've seen
or
you.
Netflix.
Brilliant.
Oh, what have you seen me acting?
You did a work in progress years and years, and you go with
With Jenny.
with Jenny.
Jenny
And
Deville.
you did
And
a
we
bit.
did, yeah,
you
we
did a bit,
did,
and I
sketches.
remember just being stunned by it. I just thought,
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought
I
it
was
was
her
brilliant.
mum.
I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was really, really brilliant.
I mean, the idea that I could be somebody's mother was a big stretch in my
Huge stretch.
I think I did a Leeds accent as well.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Oh.
I've seen a lot of theatre, and that's actually. I'm not being nice to you. I swear that's one of those performances that just stuck.
He's
with
never
me.
nice to people, is David. He's known for
No, but it-
being
like-
an absolute git.
But famously an asshole.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Most hated
Oh
man
yeah,
in comedy.
totally.
Based on this evidence, Russell Edwards' theory identifies Aaron Kosminski as a Polish barber as Jack the Ripper. Edwards claims that forensic testing detected DNA matching both Edo's and Kosminski's descendants. However, critics argue that the Shaw's provenance is dubious and that contamination over the years weakens the credibility of the findings.
But he was a barber.
He was a
So
barber.
he'd have sharp scissors.
Exactly.
Ah.
Yeah, and access to tools. While some believe this to be the most compelling evidence.
And razors.
And razors,
Yeah.
yeah. The lack of peer-reviewed verification keeps the case unresolved. Aaron Kosminski was committed to a mental institution in 1890, so 2 years after the killings, and died of gangrene in 1919.
So why did
whilst
he
in
stop? Because
asylum.
it was such a short period. Because it was August to November.
Yeah, well, that's. I think he was in and out of mental institutions, and then he was fully committed in 1890, and I think he moved around a bit, but I don't think he ever got completely
He was
released.
never free again.
Yeah, he was always.
I mean, there was little bits of kind of, but no. He was
But he had a history of violence even at that time. So there's a lot of evidence to support him being.
So you've brought me all this way under all this
To tell it was a man.
talk all about this for all of this time, and actually you knew who it was all along.
Yeah,
Good, thanks.
That's
It's
all right.
Been
Yeah, it was
lovely.
the son of Queen Victoria.
What?
It was the son of Queen Victoria.
Aaron
that's who you think it
Kosminski.
is.
No, that's who committed. It was.
You believe the son of Queen Victoria?
Yeah, I believe the Queen was involved. I do.
In the
Not her doing the killing. you
Ripper.
know. Yeah.
No.
I think in the Michael.
Sorry,
Caine,
have we not just jumped somewhere else?
No, in the Michael Caine TV adaptation of Jack the Ripper, I think that's their theory, isn't it?
Yeah, it was attached to the royal family somehow, and that's why Circuit the painter was referenced, because he was high society. Oh, that's not really, but he was in that sort of
I
realm.
said it was a posh woman, didn't
Yeah.
I?
And
With all the knives.
the
Queen Victoria knew which
people
one to use.
and evidence was gotten rid of. Like there was stuff washed away on the night.
Yes.
They knew who did it. I'm convinced.
And the Queen's doctor was also.
Queen's doctor, but I think it was. I want to say Albert, and that's not her son. But
I find Aaron Kosminski. I can see there's a strong case for him. However, just the precision in which the mutilations were done, I don't know. I think that's
Was
something
an
that counts
educated
against
person.
it. Yeah, he's an educated person, somebody who's an expert in the field of medicine. I don't
might
know.
have been
Or
Queen
somebody
Victoria.
who's done a bit of
YouTubing.
reading up about it
Yeah.
and was very neat and precise.
Maybe.
Yeah, some people have a natural talent.
He might have been a really good, precise barber.
Yeah.
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 So the theory that Jack the Ripper was a woman remains one of the many intriguing possibilities in the case, but it is far from conclusive. While arguments in favour of a female killer are thought-provoking, such as the ability to evade suspicion, medical knowledge and potential eyewitness misidentifications, there is little definitive proof to support the claim. The traditional assumption that the Ripper was a man remains the dominant theory due to historical accounts, forensic interpretations and the nature of the crimes. Until new evidence emerges, the mystery of Jack the Ripper's identity, whether male or female, continues to captivate historians, criminologists and enthusiasts alike. So, Pauline,
Yeah.
was Jack the Ripper a woman?
Nah.
David, was Jack the Ripper a woman?
Well, if Ariana Grande can say that God is woman, I'm going to say yes. No. Jack the Ripper was not a woman.
Okay. I agree.
Oh, this is controversial, isn't it?
This is, I mean, it's the first time I think we've all agreed, but, well, not one of the first times we've all agreed, but I think I do think there's too much evidence to point to any of the other male suspects. I think that the evidence supporting Mary Piercy particularly is quite flimsy, and certainly any of the other
The
females.
more you spoke about her, I'm going, nah, she didn't do it.
Yeah, it's too-
I really did feel that she didn't do it.
Yeah,
But
a lot less counting.
But it's also
I
because I
don't
was
know
a
if
much.
she even killed her boyfriend's wife.
Yeah.
Just
she
saying.
denied it to the end.
Yeah. Although, you know what?
What?
The baby's body was dumped in Finchley, and that's where I live. Do 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 do.
This is why you should go.
I've visited the grave of one of the victims of Jack the Ripper, because it's Leytonstone.
Where?
Graveyard.
Down in the East End.
Yeah, I've forgotten which one it is because I'm terrible with names and I have not eaten today. So
Oh, you have fun weekends.
I do.
Pauline, would you like to look into this camera? Tell people where they can find you, follow you, all that kind of stuff.
Wow. So I'm the resident MC at Bohee Comedy Club in Finchley.
Yeah,
Such a
great
good night.
gig, great
Bohemia.
gig.
And I am doing my show, Anyone for Tennis, throughout 2025 and hopefully beyond. It'll be at the Edinburgh Festival at Hootenannies on Grassmarket. What else? And then I'll be teaching people how to have babies, but we never got to that. Hence the midwifery interest.
Yeah.
And maybe killing people. Who knows? Because
Yes.
we can.
Yes.
We set our
Yeah.
minds to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or leading
We
to
believe in
blind
you.
judges in solving crime.
If anything really dodgy happens to Goran Ivanišević, I think they know where to come.
Would you like a Jack the Ripper joke to end the podcast?
No, we're good. Thanks. Bye.
Okay. Thank you for coming, Pauline.
Go on then, Phil. Give us a bad joke.
You say bad. What one thing can you ask both Jack the Ripper and a man who is speed dating?
Oh, good grief.
What do you look for in a woman? Told you it was bad.
Yeah.
We're going to get cancelled.
That's the end of the podcast. Thanks for listening. Bye.
If you like the podcast and fancy extra episodes and early access every week, why not join our Patreon? Just £5 a month and you'll be helping support the pod. Remember, we love you. Bye.